to the March 13th council meeting. First we'll have the roll call.
Bartley, Walters.
Here.
Warden.
Here.
Ewert, Benner.
Yeah, here.
Harden,
Yes.
Crum.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
My name, yes.
All right. Next we have invocation, begun by Pastor Greg Hamlin from First Christian Church.
Let us pray together. Now, Father God, we thank you and praise you for this community we call Haysville. We thank you for your presence here. We thank you for all the leaders that have come here today. And we thank you for all those who have given up their time to make this community a safe place, for all of our law enforcement, for all of our staff. And we just ask, oh God, that you just bless our community. And thank you, Father, for our mayor who stepped up and is doing such a fine job here. We ask, oh God, that you just bless this meeting and our decisions today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Put me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have a special order of business, VFW Post 6957, for the presentation of the Haysville Police Officer of the Year.
Good evening, my name is Aaron Grundon. I'm with Keeper Wire Post 6957 here in Haysville. And myself, along with several comrades from the post here, have come tonight for a award presentation, Outstanding Law Enforcement of the Ward, presented to Levon C. Krotz, in grateful recognition for unyielding adherence to the highest ideals of law enforcement in maintaining, preserving, and protecting the lawful rights of all citizens. A little bit of story on this first. At the post level, your leadership nominated you, and you were awarded the winner at the post level for Outstanding Officer of the Year. You then went on to compete at the district level against 14 other posts, and you were also selected at district level as well too. So there's a certificate and a plaque as well too. Went on to being 7 districts competing at state. Unfortunately, the rally ended there at district, but we did get you, like I said, a plaque and a certificate. And we just want you to know that from your leadership here in town and from at the VFW, we just want you to know that we appreciate what you do and it is recognized and appreciated. And just again, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always great when we can recognize our police officers, and appreciate the VFW for doing that. Thank you. All right, next we have the presentation and approval of minutes of February 13th, 2023. Councilman Benner.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of February 13, 2023 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from February 13th. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters.
Abstain.
Warden.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next item 1, citizens to be heard. We have Tim Macy from the Haysville Chamber of Commerce.
Council, mayor, and city employees. First of all, thanks to Will Black, Georgie, Angie, Tony, Danny, Janet, Kale, and Danielle for coming to my retirement celebration. My wife was pumped, so I appreciate that. You saved me some challenges there. I talked to Danny in probably November that I was going to retire, and at that time he brought it up at the council meeting about me coming to you guys and asking for some help training the new person. So that's what I'm here for tonight, is monetary help. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. So it's something that it may be an easy job at times, I'll admit that. There's some also challenges at times. And so what I'd like to do is for you guys to consider helping me this first year with training Mark and getting him all set up so I don't have to work anymore after September is my goal. So I worked today and I worked some last week too. So any amount you could give, I would truly appreciate it. I know there was some discussion in November about it and it wasn't going on the budget or anything. There has been past, you've given us money from the transient guest tax. There was times that you gave HFI $10,000 a year too. So I don't know that that money's still out there or where that is, but if at all possible, I would like for you to help the chamber promote Haysville by helping me train Mark a little bit for the next 6 months or so. And I'm open for questions.
I believe, what was it, 2,500?
Yeah, we'd looked at doing 2,500, but we could look at doubling that, do
Yeah.
5,000 for the year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Walters?
That was my question, so thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I haven't left yet, so if you need me to haul trash with Tony, I'll be around.
Appreciate everything you're doing for the community.
Huh?
I appreciate everything you're doing for the community and businesses.
Thank you. I appreciate being in Haysville, believe it or not. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Craig McDaniel.
Thank you for letting me come and speak. I just want to let y'all know, I'm the ambassador for Ainsley's Angels in Central Kansas. We're a local ambassadorship of Ainsley's Angels of America. We're based here out of Haysville. We pair able-bodied runners with individuals with disabilities, provide a running chair, and then participate in endurance events. We are the only ambassadorship within the state of Kansas. And coming up on April 1st, we are putting on the Rolling on the Prairie. This is the second year that we put this 5K on down at Dorner Park. We're that's part of the Ainsley's Angels Race Series. The race series encompasses 14 races across the nation. We're the only race within the Midwest, so there's none in Oklahoma. I think the closest one to us is in Texas. So it's really our biggest celebration of the year where we turn the minority of those individuals with disabilities into the majority. And it's a great celebration to see and to provide that moment of inclusion for all of our participants. We participated most recently last Saturday in the Hacks Shamrock Shuffle where we had 8 teams. We're expecting anywhere between 30 and 40 Angel teams participating on the race, and I just wanted to invite y'all to come out. On the first, 3 o'clock is when the 5K starts. Afterwards, the Wichita Fire Department is coming down for our first golf ball drop as a fundraiser for us, and we'll have hamburgers and hot dogs, kind of a cookout afterwards. So with that, if there's any questions, if not, I just want to make sure y'all knew you're all invited to come down and be a part of the only one in the state of Kansas that started here in Haysville.
Well, I don't see any questions, but do appreciate you coming out and letting us know about it.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item 2, approval of licenses and bonds. We have none. Item 3, A, resolution of the city of Haysville, Kansas, announcing the city's intent to consider adoption of an organized collection service within the city limits of Haysville, Kansas. So just kind of start off, just kind of recap as far as how we came to this point. Haysville Pride wanted to do a poll, so they polled. Their goal was 10% of the households in Haysville, which was over 450 was their goal, which was a little over 10%. So they did a survey for 3 months from October through December, and out of that, more than 90% of the people that did the survey in Haysville were for the city coming up with a plan as far as having a citywide trash service, one carrier, to lower prices. I know, like for myself, I pay $27 a quarter. There's other people that pay over $100 a quarter, same trash company. So the citizens were asking for lower rates, along with bulky item pickup, things like that. So then they came to council in January. Their survey is in the January packet. It's online. Then council asked staff to come up with an RFP, and that's where we are today. And Josh is going to talk about the resolution and kind of the guidelines or the schedule for this. And the draft RFP is also in the packet, along with a email from Ron Ford. And afterwards, Mark from our Air Capital Waste called up and asked to speak, but I put him on the agenda for this because this is what he wanted to talk about. So, Josh?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I prepared a memo that's in the packet that kind of summarizes the process that's involved. After staff started researching what was required to move forward with organizing trash service, we did our research and found what Kansas law kind of sets forth as the process to get that done. So to begin that process, there's a resolution before you today. What the resolution does is it doesn't say that we're going to do organized trash service. It's just the first step we have to take in this process. So the process would be you'd approve this resolution saying that you want to move forward into looking into organizing trash service within the city. That is published in the city paper. Then there's a 90-day period that will follow in which the city is going to have open meetings with the current licensees that provide trash service in the public for them to come forward and discuss kind of what they want to see as far as services and things of that nature with trash service. Under the statute, that period is 90 days from when this resolution's passed. So resolution, 90 days, then a plan's put together, okay? The basis of the plan was kind of the RFP in the packet, which we don't want you guys to approve today. It's just you had requested kind of the outline of the RFP, so that's kind of what we put together so far that's in there. So pass the resolution, 90 days to put together a plan, then we'd come back with the plan and the RFP, get that approved or not by council. That would go out. Then the statute requires a public hearing, so the public can come forward and speak about the process and whether they want to move forward with consolidating trash service. And then after that, we'd come back in front of you if you decide to move forward with an ordinance actually doing that, making that decision, moving forward. The interesting thing is after the ordinance is passed, pursuant to the statute, there's a time period before it can actually kick in. So that's 18 months from when that ordinance is passed before we can actually begin organized trash service according to the Kansas statute. So I just wanted to come up here and explain the process because it's a little convoluted after we got into looking at it, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
So if it does go through, we're looking at like 2 years before it would start. Councilman Crum?
So I was gonna say, so we got 30 days now, that's a month, and there's 90-day period, so there's another 3 months, so that's 4. And then the 180 days is another 6 months, so we're looking at about 28 months.
No, it's
really.
180 days from now until when the ordinance can be passed, so that's the minimum.
From now, not till.
Well, if you pass the resolution tonight, the minimum before you can approve the ordinance is 180 days.
But this, according to this list you gave us, we're not gonna approve the ordinance until like step 6.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps, so.
Yeah, and
so
then
yeah.
180 days after the passage of the resolution.
Yeah, before we can consider the ordinance, then if you were to approve the ordinance, you got 18 months after that before organized service can begin.
Okay. Just a much longer process than we thought it was gonna be.
Yes.
Councilman Walters?
In the event we do pursue this, and it seems to be very positive for the city, less wear and tear, costs less, it just seems overall, but I do think I've heard that, not personally, but I have heard that there are some that don't necessarily want to follow that, but is there a way, if we do this, for somebody to opt out if they want to?
So that, if the city were to do organized trash service, for residential customers, it would be everyone in the city, all the residents in the city would be, there wouldn't be an opt-out, so it would cover those. But the purpose of the process, at least, is to, take into account all that stuff during this sort of 90-day planning period. So if you pass the resolution today, it's not saying that we're going to end up doing it or not, but it's just a required first step to kind of get the ball rolling. And because of the time periods, if council's really considering doing it moving forward, the sooner we pass the resolution and get that going, the sooner there could be resolution to the issue one way or the other. So.
Okay, and of course, there's public participation that would be posted, I see on the website, perhaps in a paper or something, make sure that people who want to be here and voice their opinion, they can.
I would defer to staff on how they want to get the word out, but yeah, I mean, I would assume we'd want the most public participation we can. And in addition, we have to invite all of the folks that have licenses already that are serving the community so that they can participate as well in that process, so.
Okay, thank you.
So what would staff like to do? Councilman Crowe?
I make a motion that we go ahead and.
Oh, I'm sorry. We also have Mark from Air Capital. He wanted to speak, so we'll let him speak real quick.
Thank you. I'm Mark Rapulio with Air Capital Waste. I think most of us have met. Last time I was here was several months ago. We were in the middle of the best value problem. I think that is a big reason why we're here today. You know, I was afraid that things might go this direction because there was so much unrest. When someone is not picking up the trash and it's piling up on the street, you as a city really don't have any options. I mean, you've got to take some action. At that time, I met with several of you, talked to Will and the mayor, and let you know that Air Capital was interested in helping. At that point, we contacted Best Value. We got involved with him. We agreed to pick up all of those customers that he hadn't been picking up. We did that for a month. Anyone that was on his route sheet, we picked up at no charge for that month that we were in. Didn't matter how much trash they had, we picked it up. My drivers picked up on a different day in town, and we told them to, if they saw piles with one of his cans, dump it, get it picked up, try to get it cleaned up. We also, at that time, there were some issues with the Fall Festival, whether Best Value would be able to fulfill their obligations there. So we stepped in, we did the Fall Festival, short notice, we didn't charge anything for that. We, as I mentioned to the mayor, we're interested in working with the city any way we can to help out. In the past, I have been involved with the neighborhood cleanups. Used to be when Lee's was in town or around, they did that at no charge. They covered the labor and the expense of the trucks, and the city covered the cost of disposal. It's one of those things that a company, when they get a large enough presence in a town, they can afford to start doing some stuff like that. So that, I say all of that to say, I was very shocked when I heard that you were looking at going with a single provider. You know, I thought we've had a good relationship. We've kind of been progressing, you know, in that area, getting to know each other. And after I thought about it more, I kind of realized you guys probably don't know how it'll affect me. And so that's why I'm here tonight, is to kind of tell you how it would affect me. The biggest thing, this would probably put me out of business in Haysville. The size of company that we are, we're growing here, we're taking a lot of customers. I think one of the councilmen said his trash bill doubled. That is going on everywhere. I mean, we're still under $70 a quarter for trash. But it would really put me out of business, and I don't believe that I could even bid it. And there's several reasons why I couldn't bid it. In Wichita, Sedgwick County, surrounding areas, there have been in the past 4 or 5 places that we can dispose of the trash. First one is Waste Connections facility, their transfer station up northwest. Waste Connections has sole control over the price that's charged there. To give you an example, a few years ago, Recycling there was free. We could take it and dump the recycling there for free. In a little over a year and a half, that recycling went up to $120 a ton. None of us had accounted for that kind of expense in our billing, so we obviously had to quickly try to adjust and cover that expense. The second place that we could take it has closed. That was the transfer station here on the south side. It's where all of Haysville's trash went. That was owned by a company called Waste Disposal. They closed it. They said it was temporarily. We contacted them as a company. We were interested in buying it or leasing it so that we would have a way that we could compete with Waste Connections. Waste Connections ended up buying it, and as you see, it's still closed today. They've owned it, I think, over a year, and it doesn't appear like they have any intention of opening it. So that one's gone. Third place we could take it would be a direct haul all the way to Harper County, which is Waste Connections landfill. They control the gate rate. They don't have to answer to anybody on their rate that they charge. Fourth place we could take it is to Wellington. Wellington is a transfer station. It's a co-op down there of several counties. Wellington only operates inside the fences. Waste Connections has the contract to haul the trash from there, and they haul it to their Harper County disposal site. We've been informed that Waste Connections has told them their rate is going to change, and they've warned us that it'll be a substantial increase. The final option that we have is the Butler County landfill, which is up by El Dorado. It's an hour-and-a-half round trip for us to go up there. That's where we take the majority of our Wichita trash. We take all of your trash down to Wellington. Unfortunately, at El Dorado, we're about at the maximum amount of trash that we can take there. So as part of our business, we actively try to manage our trucks on where they go. Sometimes we take a longer drive to Wellington to keep more trash from going to El Dorado. So a big factor for us is the disposal. As you heard today, the process is about a 2-year process for you to do this, to select a hauler. There's no way I can know what Waste Connections is going to do to me over the next 2 years on disposal rates. So there would be no way that I could submit a bid and have any idea of whether I could fulfill the obligations under that bid. There's only one company in town who has that kind of control, and that's Waste Connections. I've heard from several of you. You guys have talked to neighbors, had people call you. Everyone I've talked to has mentioned the same name, Waste Connections. The people that are calling them, their trash rates have gone up. They've almost doubled. And it's the single company who has all of the resources to do it the cheapest is the company that just doubled everybody's rate. It appears that they are very much interested in encouraging cities to franchise. It would eliminate the competition. And as we saw with the South Transfer Station, when they closed it down and kept it closed, prices started going up. We all had to haul it farther. And I'm afraid that what you would get into as a city is if you do this, Wichita, we're kind of isolated out here. There's no other big companies around that can come in here and compete with Waste Connections. Really, if you look at the small towns around us, it's pretty much Waste Connections has gotten all of the bids. At some point, if they get Haysville, if they get Wichita, I'm totally out of business. And at that point, there's nobody for that second contract to bid against them. We're getting to the point to where we could bid this, but with the uncertainty, we just couldn't do it. as, you know, as I started out, we are always interested in working with you in any way we can for some of those things that the citizens mentioned they're interested in. We're trying to keep our rates down as low as we can. We're interested in doing neighborhood cleanups with you, continuing with the fall festival, some of the other things that the citizens have requested. But even the passing of this resolution, I believe it is a resolution resolving your intent to franchise, even that puts uncertainty into my business. I don't know what's going to happen. Do I take new customers down here? If I do take new customers, am I going to be picking up that cart in a year? Our customers going to want to switch, not knowing what's going to happen. So it is uncertainty. It provides uncertainty in my banking. It's just a lot of uncertainty for my company. I believe that really, I think it would put me out of business in Haysville. I don't think there's any way that we could work with you. I think that's all I had. If you have questions for me.
I don't see any questions, but appreciate you coming down. What would council like to do? Councilperson Barton?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution to announcing the city's intent to consider adoption of organized collection service within the city limits of Haysville.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass a resolution in the city of Haysville, Kansas, announcing the city's intent to consider adoption of an organized collection service within the city limits of Haysville, Kansas. Councilman Crum?
Just to clarify one thing, when we do the meetings, everybody that has a license to haul trash are invited to come to those meetings and talk about their concerns as well, correct?
Under the statute, they're required to be invited, so yeah, they'll be invited.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters,
No.
Barden,
No.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
No.
That is a tie, Mayor. You don't need
So am I required to do the
Yes.
tiebreaker? Yes. Okay. Well, this is just a resolution to announce the intent. There's still a long process to go through for this. So this passes, and there's still a long process. There's still meetings, RFP does go out, and even if it does get to the RFP and comes back, council doesn't have to do anything with it. They can turn it down at that point as well. So this doesn't say we're doing it, it just says we're looking into it. So I'll go and say yes. All right, next we have item B. Ordinance declaring and establishing board boundaries within the city of Haysville, Kansas, and amending Article 6, Section 201 of the Code of the City of Haysville, Kansas. So it's been it has been 20 years since our boards have been looked at and changed. So as you can tell by the memo in your packet, the last census there were 11,262 people. The average each ward should have is around 2,800. So Ward 1 had definitely about 900 people less in their ward compared to the average. So I asked staff to take a look at it, and a couple things I wanted to make sure happened was I want to make sure council members stayed on the same council that they are currently in. Wards 3 and 4 purposely have a little bit less people just because we are expecting growth in those areas. So the way I kind of wanted to look at it was adding more, taking some out of Ward 2, putting it in Ward 1, just kind of going around clockwise and spreading it around and trying to keep everything as close to what it is right now. Are there any questions? Councilman Crum?
I like the way staff did it. I think it come around. I think everything kind of tied in. It's really kind of funny. After our last meeting, I just randomly after the meeting asked Will when the last time was our populations were looking at our wards, and he kind of gave me a strange look and said that he'd just done it that morning because you had asked him about it. I don't even know if our wards, it's maybe been looked at before, but I don't think our wards have changed.
20 years ago,
Did they actually change, or did they just looked at?
2003, they changed.
Did they? So the only thing in Ward 3 is gonna chop off part from the east, and they go one block further to the west, correct? Because it's German
I believe
now.
that's right, for Ward 4.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it's going from German to Ranger Street.
Now it's from German. The new one says says wire.
Or Wire, I'm sorry, yes,
That's
Wire.
okay. So I see it, I definitely agree with this, and it's something that's needed. I do have a question. In 20 years, is this something that we need to maybe make sure that we look at this each census every 10 years? Same way the state does their boundaries and everybody does their boundaries when the new census has come through. Do we need to?
Yeah, state does, through the legislature, county does, it's in their ordinance. But cities do not have an ordinance, telling us to do it.
Oh, we do, that's what I'm wondering, should we put that in there, or is that just something that we think we wanna see what kind of growth we have and decide at that time?
Well, I definitely think it's good to look at, after each census. And I know the state's done theirs, because the state has to do theirs first, the county has to do theirs next, and then the city. So, it is something that we have to pass fairly quickly, just because of the upcoming election cycle. It has to go between, to the election commissioner, and anything dealing with the precincts, because some precincts are gonna be changing, that's up to the county to do that, not the city.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, I'm not looking at trying to slow anything down, I was just wondering if that's something we might wanna look at later.
yeah, something, yeah, we can look at that.
If there's no other discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve an ordinance declaring and establishing ward boundaries between the city of Haysville and amending Article 6, Section 201 of the Code of the City of Haysville, Kansas.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass the ordinance declaring and establishing ward boundaries within the city of Haysville, Kansas. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Harton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next we have an ordinance amending Article 17 of the Code of the City of Haysville, Kansas regarding certain fees. Georgie?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The memo you have before you goes over the fees that we're proposing to increase. These are two planning and zoning and also water tap fees, and then the one for police fees is more of a correction. Planning and zoning fees, as mentioned earlier, some things haven't been looked at in a really long time. This is one that I can't remember them being increased the whole time that I've been here. And then water tap fees are being increased due to the cost of materials. So I can try to answer any questions you might have.
Council have any questions? Councilperson Martin?
There's no questions. I make a motion, we approve the ordinance amending Article 17 of the Code of the City of Haysville, Kansas regarding certain fees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend Article 17 of the Code of the City of Haysville, Kansas regarding certain fees. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Harton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next, item 4, notices and communication. A, governing body announcements. Councilman Crum?
Stuff going on at the library. Tomorrow is Pi Day, 3/14, so tomorrow from 10 to 3, they will be having a Pi Day sale at the library. I will tell you that I believe every year they've done this, they have sold out of pies before 3. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to the library and buy a pie tomorrow. The 15th, so tomorrow, on the 15th is Lego Club meeting. Then on Thursday, the 16th, as normal, every Thursday, 10 a.m., parents as teachers story time, and 11 o'clock is parents as teachers toddler time. Also on the 16th, from 1 to 3 is a homeschool get-together. Then that all happens again on the 23rd. On the 29th, there is from 10 to 4, there's a Red Cross blood drive at the library. And the next board meeting for the library is on the 30th at 5:30. And just a reminder that quilters meet in the community rooms on Monday afternoon, and knitting and crochet group meets on Tuesday afternoon. So that's what's going on at the library.
All right, thank you. Any other council member have any announcements? If not, make the senior center announcements. Some upcoming events: blood pressure checks Tuesday, March 14th, that's tomorrow, at 9:45 a.m. A hustle trip to Bite Me Barbecue and Shopping on Wednesday the 15th at 1:15 p.m. St. Patrick's Day sherbet floats Thursday, March 16th at 12:30 p.m. A soap carving class Monday, March 20th at 1 p.m. A mobile medical and root beer floats. That's Tuesday, March 21st at 12:30 p.m. That's group exercise class Wednesday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. The monthly breakfast will be Saturday, March 25th at 10 a.m. And an egg stuffing party Monday, 27th at 9 a.m. Some recurring programs at the senior center: Domino's, donuts, coffee and conversation, chair yoga, billiards, bingo, bunco, steps, cards, drumming, well rep, tai chi, and crafting club. We're staying pretty busy there at the senior center. I try and go there every chance I get. Went to the dinner last week, I think it was Friday, and it was really good. A lot of people, it was full. Hustle numbers for February, last year was 249, this year 280. All right, next, we have the Central County Fire Department Station 34 monthly report. We have a memo regarding new business. Letter from Arthur Simmons about the Haysville hustle. Email from Cost Communications. Councilman Crum?
The letter from Artis Simmons, can we possibly have Rec look at that, or have we already done that to see if that's possible?
I think the thing is, we have a restaurant here. Of course, we don't have a pool.
But what's to say they're just going there for the pool? If we transfer
Right.
to Derby.
So we kind of talked about it, but we are not for it, just because we do have a rec center here.
Okay, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that maybe we had looked at it and thought about it. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Walters?
Just to reiterate, yeah, we do have a rec center, but we don't have an indoor pool for seniors, which is what she was saying. And since they do go to Derby several times, I'm wondering why can't we let her, or add that in, going to the pool over at Derby. I still am confused why we can't use the pool that assistance paid for. I don't know if I want to get into that. That may be something that's for my time, but I guess we don't have access to the pool that's up at campus. Is that right?
No, the city has second choice on the pool. They use it a lot.
City uses a lot of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Swim lessons. In the past, they've had open swimming and they've had pool yoga and stuff like that. They use it more in the winter than they do in the summer, but they do use it.
Is that something citizens can find out times that are available for them?
That I don't know.
Don't you have to go through the rec?
Currently, we are offering swim lessons and
Up at the,
natatorium.
okay.
Other than
And,
that, trying to coordinate to get open swim and staffing and whatever else, we have not been able to make it work this season.
okay, so since we're not able to make it work until we do have the staffing, what would be the problem with providing transportation over to the others, to Derby? Just a question.
We could look at it again, see if it's feasible, and see how much it gets used.
Yeah, I think primary, if we could have times available for citizens, if we had the manpower, that'd be great. But if we don't, it'd be something would be helpful, and sounds like we do that anyway. And I didn't realize that we're you know, taking citizens over there to Derby. That's,
We only go over to Rock Road. We do go to the shopping strip along where like Lowe's and Walmart, we go to that area. Then we also we have extended services over to Rock Road because of the dialysis that some people have needed. So we try to keep it for more medical reasons if we're going over there. The shopping over there is more services that we offer here, so that's why we do go over. That's the only places we have ventured into in Derby because they have their own service available over in Derby. So. They could coordinate with, getting dropped off somewhere and then working with a Derby shuttle to be picked up from a certain location to go in town. But we haven't ventured past those locations because there is service available for Derby residents in town. We try not to cross boundaries too much there. But like I said, we do go over on Rock Road because of some of the medical service that are answered or offered for patrons over there that we don't have, or especially the dialysis.
yeah.
So. But we do have several routes for kids to be picked up after school we do have to be over in this area, so just to kind of keep that in mind.
There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of pickups from schools, dropping kids off to and from school. Councilman Crum?
So basically, when we go over there, everything over there is either straight up 63rd Street or straight down Rock Road.
Yep.
And the rec center that they have is almost all the way toward like where 79th Street would be, so it's quite a ways more into Derby.
Yeah, I know where it is, yeah.
Time-wise, it would make things hard just for the straight route, but
Where you said we're picking up kids over there or something?
no, we don't take kids over there. I was just saying we have kids picked up from school over here.
Oh.
There's certain routes that we pick up daily, kids that are picked
What's
up.
the age limit on that?
To ride the bus.
Yeah, is there?
I haven't been asked that question in a while. I believe 8.
8.
Yeah, so. Yeah, there's at least kids that are picked up every day.
Okay.
I know it always comes down my street about time school's out.
Yeah, there's kids that are dropped across. There's a daycare across from my house that's dropped off of there every day.
They pick up at Nelson every day.
Yeah,
They have a
so
spot at Nelson, they pull up, the same kids get on the load.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, next. Item 5, old business, we have none. Item 6, other business, A, consideration of insurance renewal. We have a Jeff here tonight.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council and City staff. Thank you for giving ICI Insurance the opportunity to present you with a renewal again. I know you all have a packet and you had a chance to review it, so I'm not going to go over everything. I think the main thing to discuss is that there are fewer and fewer insurance carriers that are able to insure cities of your size on a regular basis. It seems like every year in the state of Kansas. And so last year we looked at getting a proposal from Travelers. This year we talked to the city and they said, yes, let's proceed and look at that. And then Travelers came back and said, just so you know, we have completely new guidelines for deductibles this year. And so essentially it was a 2% wind hail deductible with a $100,000 minimum. So what that meant is, your blanket, as an example, is over $40 million in coverage. So say you had a major loss of, $10 or $15 million in coverage would be of buildings or something like that, some major disaster. It'd be 2% of that entire cost would be incurred as a deductible. So it'd be hundreds of thousands of dollars that you'd be looking at in that scenario, whereas right now, the way you have it written with EMC, it's a $10,000 deductible. So while there may be some pluses and minuses, it definitely did not look promising, especially for your city's fairly spread out with a lot of these facilities. So if you have something like a tornado or a hailstorm, it might get part of the city and maybe a couple of buildings, but not others. Well, the minimum deductible they were looking at was $100,000, which that's a lot to cough up. So with that, we continue with the EMC for the renewal, and Basically, they looked at inflation. They've definitely increased the building values by over 20%, which is probably correct. We spot checked a lot of the larger buildings that had some pretty big increases, and it was pretty accurate. And then all other buildings in the city that they didn't individually do, they raised 9% in terms of the replacement cost. So the other big item is cyber insurance. I'm sure you've all heard about cyber just continually, cities getting hacked, companies getting hacked, things like that. So saw almost a 50% increase in cyber this year. I can tell you there are some cities that are looking at 200% increases in cyber. So I was pretty pleased with that. So overall, the total percent increase this year is about 13%, but I was pleased that they were able to raise the property values substantially over that amount, over 22%, to get you in I think a better spot on building values and coverage. So did anyone have any questions?
I'm not seeing any.
Yeah.
Councilperson
I
Burton.
ran across this. Why is it there's certain vehicles have a higher deductible?
That's a good question. So those are the heavy vehicles. So you're gonna have to help. So a lot of the dump trucks. So the dump trucks, I think there's might be a large a sewer truck. Maybe, is that right?
Yeah, so we have like 2 large dump trucks,
yeah.
2 medium-sized dump trucks, a large jet for our sewer system.
Yep.
I don't know if that includes like a back trailer or any of that type of stuff, but yeah, some, I guess, larger items.
Yeah, it's all the big stuff. So those 5 vehicles are there's a certain gross vehicle weight, and EMC basically says if it's this, a certain gross vehicle weight, the minimum deductible is $3,000 on something like that. Because usually those vehicles, especially in today's market, are oftentimes over $100,000 to replace. So, good question.
So what would council like to do? Councilperson Barton.
I make a motion, we accept EMC's bid for insurance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the insurance renewal as presented. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Varden,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Carton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
All right, next we have consideration of ERP Pro Community Development Suite. Angie?
Too far. Good evening. I'm here to request that we contract with Tyler Technologies for their ERP Pro Development Suite, which would include licensing, permitting, and inspections mobile. This is with the same company that we're currently using, or just installed for the financial software, the payroll. I feel like we changed everything financial related to the new system. This will talk to it, so any permits that they sell, it would automatically go into our financial software. It's also going to be easier to transition to because we're already familiar with the way the new system works. It'll help us to train the other staff that will need to learn how to use it. This is a program that will be able to be utilized by almost every department when we're going through the inspection process, public works reviews, police department reviews, and zoning reviews, as well as the city clerk, making sure all the reviews have happened, so it'll all be centralized in that. Currently, we are using Excel for tracking the actual permits, access for the permits, and then online Excel to use for the processing to make sure we're all checking it off in the right order. So I'm requesting permission to purchase that from Tyler Technologies in the amount of $27,245. And we did budget $40,000 for it, just special funds.
Councilman Walters?
If there's no questions, I make a motion, we authorize the proposal to contract with Tyler Technologies as represented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ERP Pro Community Development Suite purchase. Councilman Crum?
So this was under special funds and contractual. Is this just a one-time contract, or is it something that we're gonna have to annually do this 6,500 for?
The 6,500 isn't going to be an annual cost.
Okay. Have we looked to see if we can find anybody that could figure out how we can make that access database shareable with other networks in the city? Have we ever looked at that? Because it said it was made in-house.
We don't currently, my understanding, have anybody on staff who's qualified to, or has the training to build it and maintain it and work with others.
Basically, for it to work, we'd have to build it again and start over. This Tyler technology would allow us to do mobile inspections, so everything will be documented in the field on an iPad. Our inspector already carries an iPad, so we'll be able to do all that. All his checks and balances will be there. They'll automatically be submitted, it'll automatically be stored. Right now, we still do a lot of paper, and I don't like paper, I like digital. So right now, we still do a lot of paper. Our access database, we're always crossing fingers it doesn't fail, because it was created by Randy many moons ago, and yeah, that's what we're sitting with.
It does also tie into the GIS. So.
Okay.
And this way we don't reinvent the wheel.
I tried it, I couldn't do it.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Next, item C, the first reading of the personnel manual revisions. So, if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask them now or over the next month, until next month. Councilman Crum?
On the recreation department, we said you revised the director's duties. Was the only thing you revised was adding fall festival? That was the only thing I saw in red.
Let me look real quick.
I believe that's accurate. We were adding, the last time we had removed some of the committees that Rob was a member of. We were adding in some of the major events.
Okay. That was the only thing I saw in red. I just wanted to make sure that was the only change.
So if you have any further questions, just go and ask Will over the next month, next council meeting. All right, next item D, consideration fitness equipment purchase. Rob?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In trying to keep up with the fitness community and in accordance with our plan to keep our fitness equipment up to date, I'm requesting to purchase new strength equipment. This would replace our current 13 cable machines that were purchased when we were at the old activity center back in late 2015. I am recommending to purchase the equipment from Mid-States Fitness Equipment for a total of $51,465. Mid-States is the only dealer in this area that will sell and service this commercial line of equipment. This will be paid out of recreation sales tax, and I stand for any questions.
Councilman Crum?
What happens to the old equipment?
They will
Trading.
take it back to Mid-States and resell it. They're gonna buy it back from us.
They're gonna buy it back. Okay.
No, you can't have it, Steve.
I don't,
Yeah.
you can tell how much I do that.
Cute.
I was just wanting to see if we were gonna put it out for auction or do something so we could try to recoup some money from it.
Yeah, they'll buy it back from us and swap it out same day.
Okay.
What would council like to do? Purchase more fitness equipment? Councilperson Martin?
Make a motion, we accept the bid from Mid-States Fitness Equipment for $51,465 for new fitness equipment.
We have a motion and a second to purchase the fitness equipment as presented. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have E, consideration of the sale of Sunflower Park. So we've had people in the past request this property to see if the city would be willing to sell it. So the park board, it went before the park board the last meeting. And this park is not used, it's just it's a piece of land.
That
It's
was the
too
people
dangerous
with
around
the house
63rd
land.
Street.
So it was a park.
Yeah, right, just a plot. Councilman Crum?
I'm just curious, if we do this and it's sold, when we sell it, what zoning does that have starting out? Does it start out as a residential? Does it start out as something else? What is it zoned when we sell it?
It's currently zoned single-family residential, so it'll stay that.
Who would say that? Okay. Because I just want to make sure, because it's in the neighborhood. I mean, it's right there on the corner. with
Yeah,
other
'cause it's
houses.
in your area now.
We were already talking about it. We were
don't-
just talking
We don't have
about
to
it.
worry about it. It's your problem now.
That's all I wanted. I just wanted to make sure it was going to be residential.
Councilman Martin?
One question I had was on this piece of property, and I don't know how many people know, that back in the 50s and 60s, this piece of property was where Haysville had their water department. Has this all been, as far as checked, to make sure that down the future, the EPA don't come in and say, hey, you guys didn't do something right? I don't have a problem with selling it, but I don't want to get, because it did used to, that whole property right there did used to be Haysville City Water. And so that's where the wells and everything else was at. So I want to just make sure we don't, like I said, I'm all for selling it. I just don't want to come back and get dinged because the EPA or whoever says, hey, you didn't do something right. So.
I'm sure everything will be disclosed. I think Georgie did some research on this property as well.
I knew the wells were on there that were plugged, but I didn't know anything else, so, I mean, that information would be out there to the public, so I can see what else we might need to do.
Okay.
And there's no open water use permits for that property at all, so everything through KDHE's been closed for some time.
Okay.
So I don't think we'd run into anything with KDHE or EPA.
Okay,
but-
that's fine. That's good.
So what would council like to do? Councilman Crum?
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation from zoning and consider the sale of Sunflower Park.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to sell Sunflower Park. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
There you go. Crum, Thompson, buy a property.
I was gonna say, he just got that part of the ward, and now he's selling those parks.
Not until it's published.
It's all yours now.
Still good. All right, item 7, Department Reports, Administrative Services, Georgie.
I don't have anything.
City Clerk, Angie.
Nothing?
Police, Chief.
No, we've always got something. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to introduce our visiting officer this evening is Master Police Officer Dave Liang. So he's out there. He's on our first shift currently, so say hi to him as you go by out there. Also just wanted to mention about Severe Weather Awareness Week last week. Make sure everybody hopefully got to partake in drills with your families and things. I just want to remind everybody that if they didn't hear the sirens last week, that may be because you were inside, and those sirens are considered outdoor warning devices for people that are outside to let them know to take cover. People inside should tune to their local media outlets or NOAA weather radios or things like that to give them warning while they're in their houses. Additionally, coming up on the 30th of this month at 6:30 in the court building next door, police department, we have severe weather awareness training that is for the public or whoever wants to come out. If you're curious about weather, you want to see some cool videos with some weather, enjoy that kind of thing, come on out. It's, again, open to the public. Take about an hour and a half, 2 hours of your time, but lots of good information in there. We encourage everybody to go, kind of get an idea of what happens out here, why we go out and stand on our front porches when the weather comes. Again, lots of cool pictures and videos, so come on out if you'd like to. Thanks.
Thanks. I know the severe weather program was pretty good. I took my Cub Scout pack there a few years ago. I enjoyed it. All right, next, Public Works, Tony.
Good evening. The only thing I have is Evergy has completed the streetlight installation in the industrial park, so thank you.
Next, Recreation, Rob.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Haysville Activity Center will be hosting their annual Easter egg hunt on April 2nd, 3 p.m. in Dorner Park. Do not be late, it will be done by 3:02. Summer Elements registration will begin on April 3rd at 6 a.m. Paperwork is available to pick up at the Activity Center or on our website. The Haysville Activity Center will be closed on Easter Sunday. Pool sales will begin on April 10th. And then we will have Part of the 060 on April 22nd. And then Fall Fest, craft, civic, commercial booths are open for registration. You can get your spot at the Activity Center or on HaysvilleRec.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have item 8, appointments. We have none. Item 9, off agenda citizens to be heard. Is there anybody that would like to speak tonight? I see nobody coming forward. Next, we have item 10, executive session. We have none. Item 11, review of expenditures. A, summary of February expenditures. Councilperson Parton.
I make a motion, we receive and file February expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the February expenditures. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Next, we have item 12, consent agenda. There's nothing. Item 13, council items. A, council concerns. Person Parton.
This has come up quite a bit still. Is there any way on the website where you go in to pay your water bill on that front page that we put somewhere that if you're gonna pay it online, there's $125 fee, so that they know up front before they get in there? Cause that's the complaint I'm hearing, is there's nowhere it tells you there's a fee before you get in there to actually pay it.
Angie?
I can add that. I apologize, I thought it was on there.
No, I was looking at it this week,
Okay.
but then I heard also from somebody else that there's nothing that tells you there's $1.25 fee.
Which page or at which point in going through are you wanting to have that notice? Because it's on one page, but on that utility billing payment, if you can see Tony's screen, it's on there, but is there another spot where you'd want to have it
If we could put it everywhere,
everywhere?
everywhere, every page.
Every
you come to.
page.
Yeah, we've been trying to put it on the flyers, on
Yeah,
the
but they're
billing, on the website.
They're not seeing that till they get in there.
It is on the utility billing
Because-
page, but it's not on that first.
When you get the email and you download it on a phone,
Small.
no, the statement is gibberish on your phone. I have to pull it up on the computer to do it, to look at it.
Because they're gonna ask me what type of phone do you have.
Android. I mean, it downloads the PDF, but it's gibberish.
Hmm.
You can see the numbers, but all the words are gibberish.
Okay, I'll call them.
Okay. Councilmember Martin?
Well, I'm sitting here, the question came up about the pool. And I know it's a long history and all that. Did we not, as a city, did we not take a survey here a while back about asking about an indoor pool?
Yes.
Okay. And whatever became of that?
It's being worked on. It's, Tony, would you like to explain?
I'll do my best. So probably about 6 to 8 months ago, council approved hiring a consultant to provide a kind of concept for reaching out to the community on surveying on what their needs are in an aquatic program. So we've since, the public survey's been out there. The consultant has compiled that data, presented it to us. They've done about 14 sketches, preliminary sketches on site out there by the Dewey Genzelman Pool. We've kind of narrowed that down to a site plan for one. We met with them a couple weeks ago to kind of give them some feedback. They're supposed to be coming back to us within a week or two with some more preliminary sketches. And at that point, we'll be looking at scheduling some public meetings to kind of get some in-person thoughts from you guys and also the community members.
Okay.
Councilman Crum?
First, I just wanted to thank the mayor and Tony. The lighting over by the skate park looks really good. This isn't a concern, but I actually got to thinking about when we were talking about severe weather. I know when we have people that come and move in, we have a packet we give everybody. In that packet anywhere, do we give where maybe there's some, open basements for people? Cause I know sometimes we open this basement, I think sometimes the library basement is open when the things go off. I don't know exactly what we do open up and how it is, but give information on there in case there's people that are going into houses that don't have basements so that they would know where to go, and also maybe make that, information available on the website, just so people would know maybe where they could go.
Okay. I think the library is only open if
On their
someone's there.
hours, right.
I do know City Hall is open if there is an emergency.
I just thought maybe we'd just make people aware of that,
Okay.
so that they know. Thank you.
Councilperson Parton?
Back on the swimming pool, just thinking of funding. Isn't the 10 years on the sales tax coming up pretty soon?
Yes.
And doesn't that sunset unless we revoked
Correct.
as a city to approve it?
Correct.
So that's something, if we're gonna think about using that to pay for it.
When does that expire?
I believe it's April, is it April?
It's no, it's June 30th of next year would be the end of the 10 years. And so the mayor, with the whole idea of the pool and having the survey and doing the study on it, is basically to have something that would be basically the basis of the next look at voting for another 1 cent sales tax or extending it, be something to use to pay for that, and then also use the additional portion of whatever's left of the 1% to continue doing the street programs we've done. So that's
Well-
something where we're doing the pool survey. The pool survey was done, now we're doing the entire study, and we're looking at having that as basically a cornerstone of the 1 cent sales tax renewal, in addition to promoting the different items that have been done over the last 10 years.
But will the hack be paid off by then?
The hack won't be paid off, but we've also got the capital improvements funds, which is another area that we use to pay off different debt service, like when we're the police department improvements and the senior center addition. So between those two, those would be the funding sources for that.
Okay.
Any further concerns? Seeing none. Next is council action request updates.
So 7050 Plaza has a compliance check with the municipal court tomorrow. 7106 South Broadway had their trial delayed and set for tomorrow as well. And then 300 King Drive, Chief has an extensive detail there. Basically, it looks like without officers witnessing the violations, the reporting party would need to do a long form complaint or call 911 and have an officer witness that. Case is considered closed. And then on 267 North Sunnyside, the vehicle was moved on 3/3 of this year and it's no longer on the street, and the case is considered closed.
I will tell you, I left later that day and there was the notice on it.
Mhm.
And when my daughter came home from work at 5 o'clock, it was gone.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was like, she came home, she says, dang, it's already gone.
All right, next we have item 14, adjournment.
So Mayor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Walters?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
You in a hurry?